When he broke in, I was taking a shower and didn't notice Mary was still there. I burst into tears. "Honey, help me scrub my back." A hard black object that often appears in action movies pressed against my waist. The man's voice rang out in a low voice. "The bullet is loaded. What else is there?" My face turned red and I ran away. "What? Scoundrel?" The man looked at the gun in his hand, lost in thought. My husband has been acting a little strange lately, except that time he stormed into the bathroom and approached me from behind. He never crossed the line again. Oh my gosh, if I had known, I wouldn't have pretended to be reserved that day. I just want to play catch with him. Why not chase? Then, obviously, just the slightest touch on him made his face turn red, but he still refused to pay his salary as a wife. Today, I overheard him on the phone. "She still hasn't recovered. I can't do anything. No, I only attack healthy people. This is my principle. Don't push me anymore. Wait until she recovers. I will act naturally." So this is what it is about. I had a car accident a few weeks ago and woke up with amnesia. My husband watched over me for several nights, taking care of me, every little thing. The doctors and nurses all say I'm lucky. I also consider myself lucky. After all, not everyone has a tall, handsome husband with 8-pack abs. But lately, my husband is really strange. Even though I was wearing the latest fashion pajamas, he was still frighteningly restrained. Even though I chased him into the study, even though his pants looked like they were about to explode, he remained calm as ever. But now I finally know the reason. It turns out he was still worried that I hadn't fully recovered. I almost cried. My husband is really good. I love him so much. The call ended. He turned around and saw me. His whole body immediately stiffened, his lips pressed tightly together awkwardly. "When did you come? How much have you heard?" I gently replied, "Luke DeYoung, you must have endured a lot in the days since I was discharged from the hospital, right?" A cold glint flashed across the man's eyes. I repeat, "How do you know I'm being patient?" As he spoke, his hand slowly lowered as if he wanted to take something and also as if he was hiding something. I looked that way. Oh, look at that. Swelling up. Hang on. Men really can't stand teasing. I just had to gently move my hand and he almost lost control. I grabbed his hand like lightning, gently scolded. "Don't be patient anymore. You are my wife. It is your duty to help me solve my difficulties." Luke DeYoung asked word by word, "Do you know what my difficulty is?" I blushed and shyly punched him in the chest. "Damn it, are you really going to make me say it?" Then I reached over and gently squeezed his dilemma. In a flash, the problem went from soft as a sponge to hard as marble. The man let out a low groan, his face flushed, and immediately pushed me away. "What are you doing?" I calmly replied, "Helping him solve the problem." In the end, Luke DeYoung still did not let me solve the problem. He ran into the bathroom and turned on the cold water. I leaned against the wall, listening to the rushing sound of water in the bathroom, looking at the vague reflection on the glass door. The feeling in my heart is unbearably itchy. I could not help but ask, "Honey, do you need my help?" The man refused outright. No need. But suddenly my ears went deaf, my hands didn't listen anymore, and just turned the doorknob automatically. "Huh? What? The water is too loud. I can't hear clearly." Then I go in. The moment I pulled open the bathroom door, the man hurriedly grabbed the towel, finally wrapping it around his waist. I swallowed. The cold white light shone on him. Broad shoulders, slim waist, clear muscle lines, porcelain white skin. Mom, how come there is such a treasure? Before I lost my memory, I ate delicious food like this. I crave it so much that I want to devour that super blurry thing. Luke DeYoung looked at me coldly and went out. I regretfully looked away, not wanting to argue. He was so angry that he burst out laughing, not bothering to say anything more, turned around and left. But the bathroom door was narrow, and I was blocking the exit. To get through, he had to press himself against me. Just as he was about to reach the door, I put one of my long, smooth white legs against the glass to stop him. Luke DeYoung looked at me expressionless. "What do you mean?" The distance was so close that our breaths touched. I could clearly see every drop of water that hadn't been dried on his body, rolling along his muscles, flowing down to his lower abdomen hidden behind the towel. I swallowed again and said sincerely, "I have feelings for you." Luke DeYoung closed his eyes and could not say a word. "Get out of the way," I said coquettishly. Honey, I don't want to fall. Before I could finish my sentence, that man who had lost all his rings picked me up and threw me on the bed. I knew it. He had feelings for me too. Softly, I fell down among the blankets, my skirt caught up to my waist. Luke Deyoung stood from above looking down. Donghyun's chin was sharp. His eyes were dark as if a fierce storm was gathering. I immediately lay down straight and obediently said, "Husband, my body has really recovered. Let's go." Luke Deyoung looked at me deeply, then bowed down. That pale pink chest gradually enlarged before my eyes. Come on, come on. Don't pity me, torture me cruelly. The next second, the man grabbed the blanket and covered me from head to toe. Don't catch a cold, then turned and left, slamming the door. Luke Deyoung, are you still a man? I asked my best friend. What if a man blushes every time you see him, but refuses to touch you? My friend didn't need to think. Lee Deyoung is gone. I hastily explained. No way. Physiological function completely normal, even very strong. I have checked it myself. My friend did it himself. Who is that guy? I'm afraid to type. Is my husband. My friend has a new husband? Which male actor? I don't ask anymore. This time, for real, my friend. So you must have eaten your fill outside. You should check carefully. Homegrown flowers are not as fragrant as wildflowers. If you really dare to do that, then fire her. She said that, even though she was just a gamer friend I met after losing my memory, her understanding of human nature was really worth a look. So Luke Deyoung ate his fill outside. I'm so beautiful. You dare to eat outside? The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I immediately went to find Luke Deyoung to settle the score, but found out he had already fallen asleep. The phone has a password, of course, I can't open it, but I found a note in his drawer, on which was written Chow Si's name, age 25, favorite fruit, watermelon, longan, pipa, favorite drink, pipa snow pear, favorite animal, melon, dog, westie, tyrannosaur, favorite sleeping position, the basic style of forcing love, the biggest dream, ascending to the throne, become emperor. The back of the paper is Luke Deyoung's handwriting, must remember all the things she likes, heartbroken. The note had been turned over and over until it was yellowed. Corner paint. I held it in my hand, an undescribable feeling welled up in my heart. After the accident, I forgot a lot of old memories, yet there is someone who seriously writes down everything about me, word by word. Even the fact that I like to force love, I forgot, and he still remembered. Yet I still doubt his feelings for me. I deserve to die. There was a slight noise behind. I turned back and saw Luke Deyoung was awake, his whole body tense as he looked at me. What are you watching? His voice was low. I held up the note as evidence of his crime. Luke Deyoung's expression immediately changed. He jumped out of bed and walked closer to me, until he cornered me, a perfect position for walling. Luke Deyoung's heart beat so fast and so hard that it seemed to fill the sky. What does that prove? It shows he is nervous for me. A man, because of a woman, his heart beats erratically. What is love if not that? I glanced at myself unconsciously. Yeah, you look a bit sexy today. A 2-second nightgown with a deep neckline. No wonder Luke Deyoung couldn't control himself. Suddenly, I heard his hoarse voice. Your evidence? Tell me what you found. As he spoke, he slowly raised his hand to caress my neck, dangerously, as if he could take my breath away if he wanted to. I immediately pulled his hand down and let it down the neck, slowly going down. Honey, be brave. Luke Deyoung. I shook the note in my hand and said seriously, I can't hide the fact that I love you anymore, so why don't we practice for real? After seeing the note clearly, Luke Deyoung breathed a sigh of relief and immediately turned around to retreat. But I won't let you go. I'll hold your hand tight. Let go. The man's breathing had begun to quicken. While I was shaking, the straps on both sides of my shirt slipped down. His hand cleverly replaced the position of the strap. The moment he touched, Luke Deyoung's whole body stiffened. His ears turned red, and his Adam's apple moved up and down unnaturally. Ah, you hurt me. I looked at him innocently. Honey, how are you going to take responsibility for me? That night, I finally climbed into Luke Deyoung's bed. Because I said that my chest was hit by you, there is a possibility that I will suddenly get sick at night. So you have to stay by his side and not leave him for even a step. Lu Xuang had no choice but to surrender. Late at night, Lu Xuang seemed to have fallen asleep, his breathing even. But I couldn't sleep at all, so I secretly sat up to study his abs, then his smooth and plump chest muscles. I must have kissed and bitten him a lot before. This damn girl, she really eats well. I was so hungry that I was even jealous of my past self. Just as I was trying to pull his pants down a bit, Lu Xuang immediately grabbed my wrist with caution, his voice filled with warning. "What are you doing?" I replied sincerely. "Husband, I feel like I've ruined you two. I'm just checking again." Lu Xuang said coldly, "Go to sleep." I was so angry that I flipped over and sat on top of him. "Is this how you talk to your wife?" Lu Xuang's body stiffened, and the place I was sitting on was equally stiff. I took advantage of the momentum and deliberately turned my hips hard. The man groaned softly, lifted my butt up with both hands, and gritted his teeth as he said each word. "Chio Si, you and I are not the kind of relationship you think we are." "What does this mean? Don't want to take responsibility?" I laughed coldly. "So what kind of relationship is it? You must be a passerby." Lu Xuang was even colder than me, not saying a word, just nodding. I slapped him straight on the chest. Red marks immediately appeared on his fair skin. Oh my God, it feels so wonderful. Extremely elastic. I couldn't help but secretly enjoy it for a second. The man raised his head to look at me but couldn't believe it. "You hit me." His lips were as red as his chest. Too seductive, but I had to restrain myself. I was a passerby, so after my accident, who was the one who stayed up all night watching me without leaving my side? Who wrote the note filled with my preferences and said to remember it well so that I could hit my heart? Who was it? Every day after I was discharged from the hospital, he cooked nourishing soup, soaked my feet, and even massaged me. You treat a passerby like this? China is so touched that they should give you a button, right? Lu Gang pursed his lips tightly, turned his head to avoid my eyes. The man's chest up and down, up and down. So beautiful, I almost forgave him. Just when my hand was about to move over, Lu Xuang said coldly, "Think whatever you want. Anyway, our relationship is not the kind of relationship where we can just casually jump into bed." I'm angry. I'm really angry. Even if Lu Xuang is handsome, has a nice body, and is deeply patient, that is not a reason to reject me again and again. I'm so beautiful, surrounded by so many handsome men. Do I have to die on a fallen tree like him? My best friend heard the story and felt very sorry. Invite Me said he would call 8 models to soothe my bleeding heart. That day, I put on heavy makeup, changed into a sexy short dress, added the legendary black stockings, and prepared to go out. Luke Young was cooking health soup in the kitchen. As soon as he saw me, he stopped me and asked with a frown, "Where are you going?" "See? I'm in his heart, right?" I raised my head proudly. "You are not my husband. Why do you care where I go?" Luke Young said coldly, "You haven't fully recovered yet. Don't let the wind blow. Just for this reason." I gritted my teeth. "You think I'm not well, but many others think I'm fine. They even want to sing with me all night long." The man suddenly pushed me against the door, his voice low, each word clear. "I told you, your illness is not cured yet. Don't ruin your body." I angrily turned off another one on his chest. My mind went blank for 2 seconds. "Mom, the familiar feeling is back. Since the argument 3 days ago, I have not paid any attention to him. But my body still misses you. I often dream about that scene in the bathroom. The muscles are clear, but the skin is white and smooth like porcelain. On that white skin, there are 2 pink spots, like red apricot blossoms blooming in the middle of a snowy day. Finally, there is a legitimate reason to beat his chest. Come on, Kiyoshi, keep angry, take the opportunity to attack again." I swallowed and eagerly hit a few more. As a result, both wrists were grabbed by him and raised high above his head. Luke Xuang used one hand to hold my wrist tightly, his eyes full of danger. "Are you addicted?" 9 rescues, my husband not only handsome but also has the ability to read minds. Give me one reason not to love him. I immediately changed tactics and said softly, Honey, I'm only addicted to you. Luke Zhuang smiled, but not smiled. Aren't you going to sing all night with them? I waved my hand vigorously. They are just a motel, and you are my home. His eyes immediately turned cold. His expression lost interest. He let go of my hand and coldly said, I'm not your family. Go away. Having said that, he turned and walked towards the kitchen. How could I let you leave like that? Immediately ran after him and hugged his waist. Husband, husband, I lied to you. In my heart, there is only you. No models, no singing every night. My heart has only my beloved husband. Luke Young's face relaxed a bit. He looked down at me. Are you serious? I nodded my head like crazy. My small hands involuntarily slid inside his shirt, tracing each abdominal muscle, slowly crawling up. My hands are so fast that if there was a hand speed competition in China, I would definitely win first place. This time, the man did not resist, just gently closed his eyes. The setting sun sang into the house, covering his face with a layer of soft light. His eyelashes moved slightly as if he was longing for something. I tiptoed, intending to kiss those red lips. The next second, the doorbell rang. Luke Zhuang seemed to awaken, immediately pushed me away, and was about to open the door. I clung on and wouldn't let go. Please don't. We keep going. The man patiently said, Your stomach medicine is out. It must be the prescription you ordered. I'll go get some. It's hard to get you to comply once. Being interrupted like this, there's no atmosphere left. I'm like a sloth clinging to you, holding on tight and refusing to let go. Then you carry your wife and go get it. Luke Zhuang helplessly laughed. There seemed to be a bit of pampering in that smile, but it disappeared in an instant. So he carried me to open the door. The next second, several handsome faces poked in from the door. Hello, brother-in-law. May I ask if Miss Kyo Tai is home? We come to pick you up. 3 ambiguous 10. Sitting in the car, I was so nervous that I was shaking, not only because the guys in the car were all handsome, but also because of Luke Zhuang's eyes when I left home. The man's face was so gloomy that it looked like it was about to drip water. He stared at me and slowly said, You have quite a few motels. Then he coldly threw me into the car with the other models, conveniently throwing me a long windcoat. What does this man really have to say? Even though I was so angry, I still didn't forget to worry that I would be cold. I suddenly felt a little guilty, but thinking about how my best friend had already earned all the money for the models, if I didn't go on a trip, I would be doing my sister's wallet a disservice. So I still gritted my teeth and walked into the private room. The boys in the room are all beautiful in their own way. There is the bright, sunny type, and there is the docile, adorable type like a puppy. They coaxed me so much that I couldn't stop laughing, and we drank a few glasses of wine. In the corner of the room, there was a younger Dimty named Trung Trek. His temperament was especially similar to Lu Zhuang, cold and hard to approach. Xiaolang started to rise. I staggered towards him and sat down beside him. I swear before the pot of plain soup, I am not the kind of woman to be gentle. I'm just using him as a stand-in for Luke Duong. Rounding up, I'm still very loyal. Trung Triet glanced at me. Are you thirsty? How much alcohol have you had? Actually, I'm not thirsty, but I think maybe he wants to drink some medicine with me. I can't be unreasonable. So I put my arm around him and nodded. Trung Triet pulled out a glass of sweet and fragrant Tuet Li Pipa tea from somewhere. I made a heart shape with my hands, my tongue starting to wiggle. How did you know I liked this drink the most? Not Trung Triet looked at me with a half-smiling, half-not-secret expression. With that, he leaned closer, his breath hot. Seduce. Drink this. After drinking, you won't be in pain anymore. It sounds wrong. Forget it. I can't ask a model for a high score on the college entrance exam literature. He probably just wanted to help me relieve my headache and hesitation. It's just that the way he said it was a bit bad. I happily accepted the glass of water, preparing to drink it all in one gulp, when the glass was snatched away. It was Luke Duong. His breathing was rapid, and he was sweating from boredom. He must have run over. He raised his hand and poured all the Tuet Lei water into the cup. Not a single drop was left. Trung Triet's expression immediately became extremely unsightly. Did he come to ruin the party? At this moment, my mood was a bit chaotic. A little person in my heart was dancing. He was paying attention to me. He was jealous. And the other one was screaming, rude, a waste of heaven's gift. While I was still arguing with myself, how should I react? Luk Duong didn't say a word. He pulled my hand and left. Trung Triet jumped up, blocking right in front of us, staring at Luk Duong, his face gloomy. What do you mean? Luk Duong calmly looked at him, coldly said, she is my person. Trung Triet heard the joke. He mocked, your person? I only knew that there was someone who could not complete the mission and needed me to step in to save them. Mission? Save? I looked at Luk Duong in confusion. What nonsense is he talking about? Luk Duong showed a moment of panic, but quickly calmed down. He meant that you couldn't satisfy me, so he appeared. Oh, then Trung Triet was not wrong. Obviously, it was because Luk Duong refused to satisfy me that I called them models. Trung Triet looked at Luk Duong, his face full of mockery. Do you always treat her like that? Luk Duong did not answer. Trung Triet suddenly understood something and said, don't tell me you're moved. Luk Duong remained silent. Trung Triet was speechless, his voice full of contempt. So embarrassing. Having said that, he lifted his chin towards me, lazily opening his mouth. Hey, do you know? Actually, he wasn't originally Lu Ziang who punched him straight in the face. The two men rushed into a fight because of me. Lu Xiang's fists were as fast and strong as a hurricane, each punch hitting the target ferocious as a wolf. But Zongji was no pushover either. Even though he was pushed against the wall, he still had the strength to mock. Just because of a woman like this? Useless. I really despise you. Let you retire early, but the #1 position is better for me. Luk Duong did not reply, didn't bother to argue, just pressed him down on the ground and beat him. I stood there, eyes wide open, shouting, stop hitting me! My best friend in the group of drunk models also immediately sobered up, each pulling the two of them away with a hand. Zongji was dragged back by my friend, his face bruised, but still managed to take care of him and take advantage of him. I also intended to do the same to Luk Duong, but he took the initiative to hug him. He hugged me tightly. His voice was rarely so urgent. Don't listen to his nonsense. You and I are not just a mission. Actually, he was basically the real him. His face gradually turned red. He tried several times to find words to continue speaking, but could not utter the last few words. I started to get worried. I'm afraid he'll choke to the point of losing consciousness. Then I will lose my platinum husband with white skin, smooth muscles, and a face as cool as a teddy bear. Thinking of that, I raised my head and gently kissed his lips, gently rubbing, tender to the bone marrow. Luk Duong was stunned for a moment, then slowly closed his eyes and began to respond. At first, it was very restrained, but then it became intense. Finally, as if wanting to dissolve me into his arms, I wrapped my arms around his neck, gently rubbed my head against his shoulder, and whispered, honey, no need to say any more. I understand. You are my wife, the one you love. You love me like I love you, right? After a long while, the man nodded slightly, his voice hoarse. You're right. At that moment, time seemed to stop and gentle music played. The 7 models and their best friend all smiled at us, as if the whole world was blessing this couple. Just then, suddenly came the angry shout of Trung Triet from behind. Don't stop me. I must beat this shameless couple to death. Luk Duong ignored him, picked me up, left the bar, and walked into the quiet night. Cece, I will protect you. He spoke very slowly, very seriously, as if he were addressing the sky. I feel like I must have drunk fake alcohol that day because my mind was clearly changed. It hurts. But in that pain, I recovered a bit of my previous memories. Although I don't remember much, and the speed is very slow, at least I'm still gradually recovering. For example, last week I suddenly remembered that I used to have a little dog, a silly white West Highland White Terrier, whose biggest hobby was stealing my dirty socks. For example, a few days ago, I suddenly remembered that my family seemed to be extremely rich.
My parents loved me very much and even said they would train me to become the heir. Luke Yang didn't seem very happy about me gradually remembering everything. He always silently watched me, but the second I caught his gaze, he hurriedly left like a puppy about to be abandoned. That day, after finishing the bowl of health soup he cooked, I tapped lightly on the table. "Honey, you seem a little different these days." Luke Yang paused for a moment, his voice not natural. "What's the difference?" I tilted my head and thought. He often went out recently, looking very busy, but when he came home, he seemed unhappy. Luke Yang's breathing seemed to stop for a moment. "I'm worried." I sighed. Did he like another woman, or was he heartbroken? After a short moment of silence, Luke Yang replied indifferently, "No, don't think too much." I rested my chin on my hand and looked at him. "But honey, I feel like I'm actually still single." Luke Yang was stunned, his lips pressed tightly together, his tall and slender neck also slightly bowed, as if waiting for some kind of judgment. I sat on his lap, coaxing him sweetly. "Honey, can I call you Madam when we play? I really want to call you Mama." Luke Duong, the man didn't say anything, stood up and left. I ran after him and called out coquettishly, "Madam, fell. Where did you fall?" The man didn't turn back. "Go run some water to bathe you." After a battle, the earth and sky shook with the madam. Luke Yang went to the kitchen to cook, while I went online to play games with my best friend. She asked me, "You really don't mind that he lied to you?" I was too lazy to answer while playing. He just lied because he loved me so much. Even in his dreams, he wanted to be my husband. I'm still touched. Why be angry? My best friend was silent for a few seconds, then stole my blue charm. I was so angry that I turned on the mic and scolded. "Sisters have to finish. If you continue to be like that, be careful of me." Before I could finish, my head suddenly hurt. In my memory, someone had seemed to talk to me like this before. Juicy. Brothers have to be good at cutting.
"If you continue to be like that, I will." And I replied with an unprecedentedly cold voice. "If your skills are not as good as others, then admit defeat early. Only useless people talk too much." The sunset stretched that person's shadow long, and I coldly stepped on that shadow, step by step, entering the large and luxurious office in front. I completely ignored the cold curse that rang out behind me. "Kyushi will fall from the throne one day." I didn't even bother to turn back. To the winner, the loser is no different from an ant on the ground. Even a glance is an excess of charity. I never turned back to look. The moonlight passed through the gap in the curtain and fell to the floor. In front of my eyes, there was only a patch of white. Until my headphones rang with my friend's screams. "Dear Q-Tae, what are you doing? The soldiers were all eaten by the useless jungler. Are you down?" I blinked, looking around absent-mindedly. This is my house, and Luke Duong's. The bed still has the faint scent of love. The strange images and sounds just now seemed to have never existed, but they felt too familiar. Luke Duong took very good care of me. At home, I don't need to do anything, just eat, rest to regain strength, and conveniently visit Trio Hanfi. Lately, Hanfi has been more and more proactive. Her tricks never stop, always making me beg for mercy before she stops, truly betraying the guest. But I still want to go out and play. Staying at home all day will get moldy. Reluctantly, Luke Duong had to wrap me up like a sticky rice cake and take me out for a walk. "I'm not satisfied that you have such a beautiful wife. Don't you want the whole world to admire her?" He gently coaxed me. "Wait until he contacts me. He will definitely let me walk freely on the street, okay?" I had a hunch that the words he swallowed were important, but when I asked again, he refused to say. This walk around town was not much different from the previous ones. Very safe, except for a few older sisters who looked at me for a bit too long and were chased away by Luke Duong's eyes, and a few older brothers who looked at Luke Duong a bit too closely and were glared at by me. Otherwise, nothing happened, not at all as scary as Luke Duong had imagined. This world is very safe. After a good walk, I had to go to the bathroom. Luke Duong told me, "I'll wait for you right in front of the bathroom door." I nodded and ran inside. When I went out, my mask fell off. A gentle-natured girl picked it up for me. I thank you again and again. She smiled softly and turned to wash her hands. But when she saw my face in the mirror, her expression suddenly changed. Quixote? I stopped. Do you know me? Her expression kept changing as if she wanted to say something but was holding it back. Finally, she said gently, You're alive? Why don't you go home? I asked cautiously, Do you know my family? The woman looked at me intently, her voice gentle. My brother misses you so much. If he knew you were still alive, he would definitely rush to find you. I instinctively felt that something was wrong. Just as I was about to run away, she grabbed my wrist tightly. Long time no see. Let's have some coffee with Lee. I tried to struggle free, but her wrist felt like it was made of iron. She called someone while forcefully pulling my hand. Damn it, you're a patient, right? Just as I was about to lower my head to bite her, Luke Duong suddenly pulled me out. Before I could see clearly how he did it, that girl with such an air of elegance had rolled into the toilet, looking extremely miserable. I stammered at him, Here is the women's restroom. Luckily, there was no one else in there. Luke Duong was relieved, softly apologized to the air, then pulled my hand and ran away. He ran so fast that I could barely keep up. So he carried me up, walking steadily as if I was going to a marathon. I really couldn't stand myself in the midst of this chaos. I still had time to look down from his collar from above, and just as I expected, I saw the familiar red apricot blossoms in the snow. The skin as cold as snow, the pink breasts, drops of sweat rolling down the firm muscles, the full breasts, the six-pack abs, the charming mermaid lines. I'm craving it again, madam. I leaned close to Luke Duong's ear and asked coquettishly, Damn it, are you trying to run away with me? He did not know how to enjoy it, closed his eyes and spoke in a suppressed voice. You have no right to lead me away. I was so angry that I pinched his slim-toned waist. I say you are qualified, then you are qualified. Understand? At the crossroads, people were bustling. The car has not arrived yet, so Luke Duong had to raise his hand to hail a taxi. A taxi was coming when suddenly a few black cars appeared out of nowhere and blocked the way. Are you crazy? This is a major street in the city center. Passerbys turned back to look and whisper. The black car pretended not to see, stopped the taxi, and then parked in the middle of the road. Several men in black got out of the car. Their eyes swept around and locked directly on me and Luke Duong. Within less than a second, Luke Duong had carried me on his back and was running away. In the whistling wind, my heart pounded. I shouted, Tell me the truth. Did you sleep with someone's husband? Luke Duong was both amused and annoyed. I only have you. I asked again, So what are you running? He gasped, his voice hoarse and deadly seductive. You're afraid I'll get hurt. Oh, is that all? I struggled to get off his back and calmly said, Madam, do you know no matter how strong the enemy is, as long as we blend into the sea of humans, we will be invincible. Luke Duong didn't care about my Chunbaya words. He just silently blocked in front of me, his eyes warily watching the black-clothed people approaching. Chi-Chi, you run first later. What are you running for? This is the city center. There are security cameras all around. Not to mention Chinese people are famous for loving to gossip. There are probably hundreds of phones live streaming from every angle around. And are those people in black stupid? The parking supervisor in the middle of the main road probably wants to help the traffic police meet their monthly quota. Car horns blared down the street. I don't know how many angry drivers have called 110. These guys think they're in an action movie. The idiot leader looked at us and spoke arrogantly. Luke Duong, now that you're here, I can forget all the past. Luke Duong looked at him coldly, not moving. I suddenly feel a little nervous. Then whisper in my ear, Husband, my dear madam, you and I are on the same side. Don't leave me. Luke Duong did not turn back, but accurately grabbed my hand, 10 fingers intertwined. His voice was hoarse. Between us, only I have the right to leave you. My heart feels like someone is softly playing a tune. My eyes are stinging for some reason. In broad daylight, he said such words. Don't you know him? It makes it inconvenient for me to play the role of a sore painter anymore. Just kidding. The sore role must continue to be performed. Is it true that Luke Duong will always stand up for me in everything? I took his hand, stood shoulder to shoulder, then raised my head to look straight at the idiot wearing sunglasses. Tran Su Lo, I told you when you were little you had an injection in the brain to keep the fetus alive, right? What attitude are you using to talk to my husband? Who do you think you are?
Tell your men to get lost or else don't blame me for being impolite." Before he could finish speaking, Luk Duang froze, turned his head to look at me, and stammered. "Tai Tai, that guy with sunglasses over there was also stunned. Western sister, my sister told me to hold my head up. I have almost recovered my memory. I even remember where your 18th generation's ancestors' graves are. If you dare to stand by my brother again, I will dig up your grave." The matter was blown wide open. The traffic police came. The criminal police also came. My parents also came. My parents hugged me tightly, tears and snot streaming down their faces without making a sound. Actually, that was how things were. A pair of rich brothers fought over the inheritance. The older brother failed, went crazy with anger, hired someone to assassinate his younger sister. Who would have thought that before he could act, the younger sister got into a car accident, was grabbed by an assassin and taken away, and was about to finish her off? The older brother thought that the assassin was in the palm of his hand.
But he didn't expect that my personal charm was so strong that it caused the assassin to turn around and betray him, and even risked his life to save me from danger many times. I sighed emotionally. That's how an emperor like me is, creating miracles wherever I go. As for my older brother, a despicable villain, no matter how much he calculated, when he met a stupid teammate like Tron Tulot, his efforts were all in vain. In the corner, he sat with his hair disheveled, being beaten by my parents in turn. My father was tired, so my mother took his place. When both parents were tired, Luk Duang stepped up to precisely massage and treat each acupuncture point, ensuring that the two people would fight tirelessly, with endless destructive power. I leisurely took a sip of water when Mrs. Tuet Lay coolly and kindly advised me. "Come on, parents, don't hit me anymore. Beating someone to death will dirty your hands. He is my biological brother anyway." My mother was still angry, gritting her teeth and saying, "What real brother? He's the bastard child born to your uncle and the mistress. I kindly gave him food, but he plotted against my daughter. This type deserves to die. Oh, I have this problem." Having said that, my mother kicked my father's chair leg hard. "How to handle? You speak up." My father immediately said, "Send it abroad." "Take it abroad?" My mother frowned, her eyebrows raised. "Is that all?" My father hurriedly added, "Go to Burma. Let's go to Burma." Only then did my mother regain her noble lady demeanor. Tu Sun nodded, his secretary, and Tron Tulot too. In general, those who dare to interfere in this matter handle it cleanly. In the corner, my brother let out a trembling scream, kneeling at my feet, tears and snot all over his face. "Sister, please forgive me this time, I beg you," kicked away by Luk Duang. Oh right, and Luk Duang. Since I announced that I had recovered my memory, my parents also appeared. He has always stood silently behind me like an invincible backdrop. Only I know that beneath that calm exterior, there is actually an undercurrent of unease. After Burma was dragged away, my parents finally paid attention to Luk Duang. I'll say it right away. This is my son's lover. My mother looked pleased. Handsome. My daughter has more eyes than me. My father's face was full of resentment, his expression as if he was screaming inside. My clean vegetables were eaten by this handsome pig. My mother kicked my father's chair again. His family name spoke quickly. My father is not very willing. Open mouth awkwardly. "Are you a killer?" Luk Duang immediately tensed up, his face pale. "Yes." I screamed. "Dad!" My father glared at me, holding his chest and pretending to be weak. "What are you yelling for? Dad's heart disease is about to happen." I was about to continue scolding when Luk Duang pulled my hand back. His voice was low and hoarse. "I did wrong. I am ready to take all responsibility." I started to panic. Where did I go wrong? The gentleman looks at actions, not at the heart. From beginning to end, he always protected me. Not only did he not hurt me, but he also fattened me up a few kilos. He is basically Quixote. My mother is a cross-haired woman. His eyes looked solemnly at Luk Duang, his voice full of authority. He is ready for anything. Luk Duang pursed his lips tightly and nodded. My mother said calmly, "Then punish you to be Kiaoxi's bodyguard for life. Whenever she is in danger, you must be the first to rush forward. You may die, but she won't." Luk Duang raised his head in disbelief, just that. I interjected, "Who else would fly forever?" My mother continued, "Love for life." I added, "Madam for life." My mother. I quickly corrected my son's meaning, ghost forever. My parents. That day, the moon hung over the willow top. When I heard the sound of running water in the bathroom, I suddenly became temporarily deaf. Without stopping, I pushed Lukdung down into the bathtub. His hair was wet. Drops of water rolled down his cheeks, slid down his neck, over his collarbone, over his firm abs, and was eaten clean by me. The man let out a soft groan, unconsciously wanting to grab my hair, but just a second later he was afraid of hurting me, so he dodged, while I smiled wickedly and stepped closer. Ma Noodle, open your eyes and look at me. Who am I? I want to hear you call my name. That porcelain white body gradually turned red, like the fiery clouds outside the floor-ceiling window, so alluring that one could not stop. Quixote is truly a bad girl, always causing abstinent people to fall, making self-controlled people lose their minds. But fortunately, Lukdung never let Quixote down. According to Wen Wan's official, Kiaoxi had completely recovered her memories, so Lu Yang was no longer the only one who remembered what had happened. The scene of the accident was not the first time they met. That year, she went on a trip to the mountains and saw an old city man knock down an old lady's stall and then blame her and her grandson for it, forcing them to apologize. The little emperor, of course, could not stand by. Right there, she called the police to take his car to the station, conveniently informing all of his business partners. In the past, there was Kongxi Weizing, and today there is Kiaoxi Dusan Shui, who also does not ignore injustice. The little girl who protected her grandmother and granddaughter grew up and became a strong, independent businesswoman, only to collapse at the scene of a car accident, hovering between life and death. The boy she protected back then has also grown up enough to be rational enough to distinguish right from wrong and capable enough to save people, not hurt them. At night by the hospital bed, he did not dare to close his eyes, did not dare to leave even half a step. Even an atheist like him began to silently pray to God, please let her wake up. Then she finally opened her eyes and called him husband. Long husband, short husband. She criticized Lukdung for being too cold, but she didn't know how much restraint he had to put in to keep his instincts from taking over. When Quixote regained her memory, Lukdung was afraid of losing her, even more afraid that she would hate him, but she curled her lips into a sly smile, continuing to call him Madam, Long Noodle, Short Noodle. Lukdung still couldn't do anything to her. The water was sloshing, and the girl in the bathtub fell asleep from exhaustion. Her hands would still not stay still, just holding on to him. Lukdung bent over to pick her up, dried every drop of water on her body, then gently placed her on the bed and respectfully kissed her forehead. Go to sleep, little emperor. This life I am willing to be your subject, sweet as honey.